Hey, how's it going, everybody? JT here with the EVMavericks, the Ethfinance community, for our weekly Friday Doots live stream. We are so glad to have you along for the ride. We have two very special guests today, Brendan Shakeshaft and Joe Van Loon. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having
Hey,
us.
happy to be here.
Really happy to have you here as well. I just learned that Joe Van Loon is Preston Van Loon's brother, and if you don't know who Preston is, well, he's just not the smarter one of the two brothers. We got the one right here. Joe's in the house, so they are people that work for the company auditwizard.io, or Auditware is the name of the company. So we're going to get right into this. The weekly Dudes live stream is all about showcasing the best of the week from Ethfinance community on Reddit. This is a read-along reaction series, and if you want to follow along, head to dailydoots.com, designed and produced by our very own Hani Abu. And while you're at it, go grab today's POAP. Big thanks to Turkey Troll for capturing and curating each day's Doots, and the Owl Word for curating this beloved weekly list. As always, if you know someone who wants a little piece of this action, send them my way. Let's jump right in. We're going to go to dailydoots.com, opening up the morning trinity. Vinegar Strokes chimes in Ethereum, and Tim Buck 9 says the price is $1,889.56 and 696.eth at 0.69 on the ratio. Our weekly haiku: trustless sequencing, let data compression sing, roll-ups be dancing. Thank you so much, JS Tears. That is your weekly haiku. We have a Q update courtesy of Space Cider, fellow moderator from our cryptocurrency. This is your daily beacon chain dose. Pending validators joining 78.5 thousand. And the only ones leaving, around 10. Entry queue from 17 is up 1,700 from yesterday's number. The new entry queue all-time high. It will take around 38 days for the entry queue to clear. In under 28 days, the amount of daily activators that can both enter or exit will be increased from 2,025 to 2,250. These figures are based on the entry and exit queue at the time of posting, courtesy of validatorq.com. And now, finally, our ship post of the week, because we always like to save the best for first. Volatility, so dead. So dead. I don't even have any memes to post. That's pretty good. 696 replies, no memes. We wait and they don't know. No memes to put. Look at all these replies. I'm going to open these up because this sounds like this is a hilarious tree. Let's go there real quick. No memes. No memes. All right. These are a bunch of pictures. So if you're watching the YouTube live stream, you're probably getting this. Me waiting for volatility as a lonely man on the glider rocker, standing sitting at the table, nothing going on. These are so good. Oh my God. dailydoots.com. Get that shit post of the week because all of these are so good. You guys are freaking hilarious. Don't ever stop. Okay. So it looks like if we're looking at our weekly leaderboard, guess who's at top? Oh, you don't have to guess. It's Super Fizz. I think he's sitting at a solid, 110, somewhere in there. Logary the Bard sitting at 63. Tricky Troll at 60. K Brat 56. Ethical Trade at 48. Crypt Owl Currency at 47. 696 ETH at 45. Swagdamus Prime at 44. Scientist at 43. And rounding out the top 10, the real John B. McElmore at 42. All right, so we're going to go straight over back to our special guests here. So we have Brendan and Joe from Auditware. We are so glad that you could join us today. So we're going to spend a few minutes with you, and we want to learn a little bit about what auditing is, how you both met. So let's just start with the basic question so you can explain to a guy like me who might be 5 or 50, what does auditing provide as a service?
Right. So, you develop any smart contract app or even really any application at all, you need to consider security, defending against different attacks. I mean, we've all seen entire projects be drained in the news, and I bet a lot of us are wondering how that could even happen. So smart contract auditing and security auditing in general is just the practice of kind of taking one of those developed applications, analyzing it for all those security concerns, and then making sure you kind of close all those holes so someone can't come in, just take control of your funds, things like that.
So auditing is it's a vital piece to give peace of mind, not only to the people that are going to be using a product, but maybe people who might be investing in a company too. They want to see that independent third-party people have gone through and reviewed the code. Am I on the right track with that?
Yeah, I think auditing as a service is pretty big because people want to see kind of that rubber stamp, that assurance that when I ape into this project, I'm not gonna get rugged and lose everything.
Right on. And Brendan, when did you guys start this company? How long have you known each other? What is your history, Brendan? Then we'll pivot back to Joe. I want to learn a bit about where his history is too.
Yeah, for sure. So for me personally, I've been working in the Web3 space for almost 4 years now. I got my start in DeFi on a project called Ethfinance, which Joe's brother Preston actually co-founded.
Yep.
So a year ago, I was at ETH Denver, just kind of tagging along with Preston, I think. Went to a networking event. And then I met Joe, and I happened to be there with our lead developer, Aiden, as well at the time. So all three of us kind of met each other, really hit it off. Joe shared the idea for the tool that he wanted to build, and we've just been grinding on it since then.
And which ETH Denver was that? I'm sorry, I missed that. 4 years ago, or just, or you were in DeFi last. 4 years, so the year, but 2 years ago. Okay, very good.
2022.
Okay, back that was like was that the first year they resumed it? Okay, and at that time I was with Grid Plus at the time. We had a booth back there showing off Lattice One stuff. So, so that's all. ETH Denver is such a great place to like network with people. So I'm glad that you guys all. It's kind of fun when you gel with the right people at the right time at the right place, and it's like you get in a flow state almost immediately. You already know what the needs are. You know what your market fit is. And it must feel pretty good to kind of get up started quickly. How many people are in your company?
Yeah, so there's 5 of us now. There's Joe and I, and then we have Aiden, who I mentioned, our lead developer. Then we have Tom, who's our designer, and then Sam's the newest member of our team, is another full stack developer.
Fantastic, small but mighty. So, can you give some examples of some contracts that you guys have already reviewed and sort of do auditing for? Is that all NDA kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I can let Joe touch on the specifics, but right now we're mostly focused on developing our tool, Audit Wizard. But that being said, we've bootstrapped ourselves by auditing along the way. So some audits we've done were for Slingshot Finance, the crypto exchange. We audited their mobile wallet. Joe did an operational security audit for Unstoppable Domains. And then we also did an operational security audit for Float Capital, just like a DeFi project.
And for those that are watching on YouTube, I'm actually at the auditware.io website, and I'm kind of scrolling around here, and everybody should take a look and see what they got going on. So that's a impressive resume in a short amount of time. I mean, for just kind of jumped right in. So
just to clarify, that's auditwizard.io.
So yeah, auditwizard.io. Right now, there's 2 URLs. Audit Wizard's your new website though. Auditwizard.io for now. Auditware is the name of the company. Auditware.io also points to there, but auditwizard.io is where they want you to bookmark and funnel people through. Okay, so explain to me what would be the audit process that somebody, if they wanted to engage with your company, what's the best, what are some of the baseline expectations, going both ways? What do you expect from the company to give to you to audit, and like maybe provide a kind of a case example if that's even possible?
Yeah, so for us, we don't do audits too much ourselves now. We're focused a lot on building the infrastructure to allow auditors, especially in the independent space, to do their work a lot more efficiently and have a lot more powerful tools at their disposal, so they can just do a better job. And so when you as a project owner want to get an audit, you have to this is kind of a pre-audit checklist, right? You want to make sure that when you give your code to someone to audit, you haven't left any obvious stuff in there, right? Because you're paying the auditor for their time, and there's a bunch of low-hanging fruit. They're gonna, spend a lot of that time that you've paid for just finding those and writing that up. And that's kind of like where we come in. We make security a lot more accessible through this platform we're building, Audit Wizard. And essentially, you can go there, you can upload your projects, you can use our tools, our different ways you can look at your project and analyze it and think about it, and that really helps you get prepared to be audited. And then as an auditor too, they can come to our platform and use our tools to do the same thing while they do their work, right? Have access to all these analysis tools, find bugs more easily. And so, the overall process is you as a project owner hand off your code base at a certain point in time to an auditor. They work on it for a few weeks. They, see what they can break, see what they think is a concern, then they come back to you with their report. And then you'll address some of those concerns and then work with them to kind of note that in the report that, okay, they found some things, but everything's fixed. Then you can take that audit report and you can publish it so that when someone comes to use, say, your DeFi app, then they can look at that and they can say, okay, anything that was an issue is now solved. So I can assume there's some good level of security now.
So correct me if
Just
I'm...
to clarify.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, it's Hanny Abu, right? Yeah, go ahead, Hanny.
Yes, sorry, just to clarify. So, would you guys at this point, in the product state, you wouldn't recommend relying solely on this product, but using it in conjunction with a traditional auditing company? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah. It in a way. Sorry, go ahead, Brendan.
I was going to say yep, and then also encourage auditors to leverage the tool that we've built to do their work. Right now our product's in its alpha stage. We'll be launching a beta at the end of July. But really the goal here is that independent auditors and security researchers can leverage our tool to do their work more efficiently and easily.
Yeah, and so we think the future of auditing will look different than it does now. Right now, you have a project, you go find an auditing firm, right, and they have a backlog of up to 6 months, and they cost tens of thousands of dollars to get even a simple audit. So your whole project is delayed waiting for that because you had to finish coding, take a snapshot, and then wait 6 months for an audit to start, wait another month for it to finish, act on it. And in those 6 months, you kind of can't do anything because anything new you do, you have to continuously iterate on it. And so our platform is really focused on the idea of shifting away from going to a firm and having that terrible experience and working more with independent auditors. And so the way we see the future is people won't go to a firm, wait 6 months, and have a terrible time and spend a lot of money to get one single audit. They'll go to different independents and different contest platforms and leverage bug bounty platforms like Immunify, Code Arena, Sherlock, and go to these independent auditors, and everything kind of stacks up nicely. So you get a really nice comprehensive audit that a lot of people have looked at rather than just having like one or two people look at your code and give the thumbs up.
So the Everman explanation, if I'm hearing this right, is almost like you're a hardware store and people can like select some tools to get started on a project. And then from there, once they've kind of refined a few things and tweaked a few things in-house for far less cost, then they can really ship a good final, what they hope to be a final result of the house that they're building to an inspection team or an auditing team to go ahead and write off on it and say, we believe to the best of our ability, this is a clearly good code. Is that, so you guys are more like a hardware store. You're giving the homeowners a chance to build the house as much as possible for very cheap. And then at the very last moment, basically they're hiring an inspector because they've got the job mostly done.
You can think of it kind of like we give the inspector tools directly to the homeowner.
Love it.
So they can go and they can like look in the basement for mold or whatever. And maybe they're not as much of an expert, but at least it's accessible to them and they can get some of the low-hanging fruit out of the way and make their experience with the inspector a lot smoother.
Yeah, I will say I love the ability for me as someone with no experience to be able to log in and just drop a contract address, and just being able to look at this function graph is hugely useful for being able to see the flow of what gets called by what, and what's an internal call, what's an external call. So I mean, if I were interested in looking further, it's a great starting point for getting into it. And that
What's on the
I haven't even looked at all the other functionality yet.
What's on the horizon for your team over the next 12 months? What should the rest of us know about what's coming down the road, if you want to expand on that before we kind of move into our color commentary on the weekly Doots? What's the one thing or the two things or whatever you have to say? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I would say definitely keep your eyes out for the Audit Wizard beta launch, which is happening at the end of July. You can stay posted on our Twitter, which is at audit_wizard. There's going to be a lot more usability and product readiness with the beta launch. And also look out for some exciting integrations we have on the horizon with other security companies where, you can start to work on bug bounties using our tool.
Don't forget to drop by the daily on Ethfinance when you go to make those tweets.
Absolutely.
Anything that you just come into the daily, because when you look at it, it's like every day is between 300 and 500 comments, but you can damn well guarantee there's like 10 to 20x that amount of eyeballs that are there, and they're there very consistently. So we have a very small but very mighty community, and a lot of names and people that you recognize throughout the years have originated there. Feel free to come in and update us anytime you guys have something to share. We want to keep in touch with you, and this doesn't have to be the last time you come hang out with us either. So anything else beyond that? So we're going to say it again, auditwizard.io, correct? That's the new URL we want people to bookmark and redirect. And before we move on, is there anybody in the crowd, in the peanut gallery on Discord, that has any questions before we rock and roll?
It looks like Treebeard has a comment in
Thank you.
in the comment section.
All right, let me open that up real quick. Open up the chat. Some screenshots. I definitely like the function graph. That's handy, but I would like to see modifiers in here as well. The vulnerabilities, if found, are mostly correct, but not entirely. But yeah, I know that's just a slither. Lastly, the AI summary is cool. I think that's a big win for most people that can't read the code. It's not entirely accurate, and it got cut off at the end, but it's still such a great start in my opinion. So Treebeard, thanks for your comment. Do you guys want to respond to that at all? All right.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for testing and taking a look. Glad that you find some usability in the tool so far. Like I said, the beta is going to be shipped with a lot of improvements that I think will address some of these concerns. But yeah, definitely happy to have you test it and appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, everything there is definitely a work in progress. But I'll say the thing I'm most excited about are the AI features, and something that we're going to be bringing pretty soon is kind of a chatbot, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the accessibility of security that we want to bring to the platform, wherein you can't really read the code, you don't really know how to interpret the analysis tools, but maybe you could ask a chatbot like, hey, what are some of the security concerns with this project that I'm looking at here? And it can point things out to you, and it can kind of give you the high level of, these are some things I would be worried about. And if you're more technical, you can go read the code and kind of confirm those. But if you're not, you could say, maybe I won't ape into this until I see the audit report.
Excellent. Anyone else? Okay.
And if anybody has any additional feedback, I guess the Discord is the best place to drop it.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, please stop by the Discord. We'd love to have anyone else test it or leave feedback. That'd definitely be much appreciated by our team.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Hey, we're going to move right in. If you guys want to stick around, be a color commentator. I haven't read through these yet. We're getting ready to do our weekly Doots roundup here at dailydoots.com. Leading off right off the bat, we have user OIOOLO, I'm not sure, explains how a Trezor randomly generates a seed phrase. With Trezor, you can read through their code and understand how they generate seed. Someone has already done this, and it cites a Medium article. You'll notice that that article calls out that the default random 32 isn't suitable for production, and the code itself warns you of this. So you'll need to find out where Trezor implements random 32. This is my first time looking through their code, and it seems that the insecure implementation is the default implementation in their firmware. But I assume they replaced that somewhere. Perhaps someone more familiar can point us to the newest RNG code, because, all caps, this is a very important point to clear up. They have a legacy firmware, and the post goes on from there. Is there anybody in the crowd that can chime in on this? Their last part of their post says that this all looks really good when talking about a data sheet here, and I've heard that the modern Trezor firmware also includes static RAM and host device data into its RNG, but I'm not familiar with enough with their code to hunt down that at the moment. Anybody got any comments on that? Because that's a little above my pay grade. If not, we'll move on. Oh,
I think it's hard to say what's an acceptable level of randomness, and it's also hard to know how much we should really care about this. Like when you think about cryptography, the not suitable for production, it can mean a lot of things, and also you can have different layers to your cryptography, right? So like we all know MD5 is broken, and we're using SHA-256 or something now for everything, but MD5 is still used in a lot of applications. You can build other cryptography on top of it. So just because you're using something that's not perfectly secure, or that could have a little bit more entropy or be a little bit harder to crack, doesn't necessarily mean we should be concerned about it. So I really don't know how to feel about this.
It's kind of like your levels of concern can go to an infinite place, right? I mean, right?
Yeah.
At some point, we're all concerned about AI and quantum computing and like everything becoming irrelevant, but somehow we still exist,
I think, do you remember, I think it's a couple years ago, there was this whole controversy of there being like a grain of rice sized chip on every like AWS server. Everyone was freaking out about it, and it turned out to not be true at all. This kind of feels like the same thing now with hardware wallets. There's always this like supply chain risk, and like this, the software too, but also the hardware. You never really know what you're getting.
I remember this thing called the Y2K bug, and we thought the world was going to end for sure. It ended up being the biggest, like, kind of, it didn't really disrupt. I mean, a couple of fax machines got pissed off, but I think that was about it. All right, we'll move on. I love this username. Actually, this person, I think, got their first Doot ever, and it was a weekly Doot nomination on top of that. So just so you guys know, there's a list every day of the top Doots of the day, and then we do this one weekly list, live stream thing. So to be like on the Doot list and on the weekly on your first time getting nominated is pretty good. But I love this username. It's whatever, man. User It's Whatever, man shares the cool new project that they have been building. Hey guys, Lurker here, who's been working on a project in his free time. It's called betonchain.gg. To keep it brief, I started out running a Chainlink node, deploying jobs, and a customer to update odds and game results data from an API I wrote to aggregate results and odds across various bookies. Okay. Eventually, the goal became to offer the most competitive betting experience in terms of odds, privacy, and transparency, while decentralizing the bookmaker by sourcing house liquidity from a community which receives house profits back. Soon after launch, I aim to add support for futures and integrate player-friendly tools such as contracts for auto-hedging parlays. The platform is currently on Sapelia. I always screw that up. Joe, how do you say that, Brennan? Sapelia? Anyway, if anyone is interested in testing the D app, please drop an address and I can send over some test USDC, USDT DAI to place bets with. Hopefully there's not too many bugs. I'm considering launching Polygon ZK EVM, but not sure yet. Appreciate any feedback from you fine gents and ladies. P.S. If anyone has insight into raising funds, please let me know. Hope to make this my full-time job. And I'm on the site now, so our viewers on YouTube can see it. It's a clean-looking site. You know, we will always say this: make sure that you're careful with what you connect your wallet to before doing anything. Okay, people. So it's a nice looking site, and it's one hell of an idea. And I wish them all the best of luck with that. Anybody got anything they want to add to this before we move on?
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting project to me. So before I worked on Auditware with Joe, our current lead developer and I, Aiden, were the first people to use Chainlink sports data to build a similar product, which was like March Madness fantasy sports. So super cool to see more development with Chainlink sports oracles. Yeah, I would definitely recommend Polygon. I'm not too sure about the community on ZK EVM yet. And as far as raising funds, you know, if this person's listening, feel free to reach out to Joe and I.
So it's whatever, man. I don't know if you're on the chat side of things. Might be able to, if you go to dailydoots.com where this was, you can actually go directly back to the Reddit post where it came from. Let's see. I thought maybe there was somebody else had a comment in the chat room. All right. Anybody else in the peanut gallery? All right, we're going to move on. That's really good. That is pretty cool. There's a lot going on there. Good luck with that. It's whatever, man. With 3 N's on the end of it. All right, so here we go. User Asus, what the fuck, has the China news, and it's not a ban. Beijing releases a white paper for Web3 innovation and development. According to the block.co, quotes, dubbed the Web3 Innovation and Development White Paper 2023, the document states the Web3 technology is an inevitable trend for future internet industry development. The commission aims to construct Beijing as a global innovation hub for the digital economy. The white paper reportedly states that Beijing aims to strengthen policy support and accelerate technological breakthroughs to promote the Web3 industry. I'll say this, and this is my opinion. They'll do this, and then they'll ban it again, and then they'll do another thing, and then they'll ban it again. I mean, it's fine that Beijing has a white paper, but I just, you know, China does what China does. Anybody else have any comments on that? All right, we're going to move on. Superfizz thinks we are hitting a staking inflection point. The almighty Superfizz says, I think we're hitting an inflection point where staking is the, quote, cool, end quote, thing to do with Ether. Lots of folks predicted that this would happen, but no one really knew when. I'm basing this on 2 factors. The deposit queue is growing at an accelerating rate despite long wait times. Number 2, the price of ETH is beginning to inch up against the flow of other assets. The logical interpretation of this is that the supply squeeze, delivered by staking and burning is finally upon us. Does this mean Ethereum is successful? Nope, not even close. We saw something similar happen with Dash in 2018. Oh my God, I haven't heard Dash in forever. Amanda B. Johnson, their spokesperson. Dash spiked when their staking program reached critical mass, but Dash couldn't keep the gains. The only way Ether will lock in this success is if we build valuable products on top of a credibly neutral and decentralized network. If you're hearing this but not acting on it, you're a bad puppy. You have been reprimanded by Superfizz. Thanks, Superfizz. Anybody have any comments on that? I saw what was Space Sider's deal earlier. There's like a record number of, what was it, 1,500 or some validators just in the last 24 hours. Like what? Remember, this was supposed to be the big unlock. This was supposed to be the dumping, and all it's doing is hockey sticking. It's just, that's what I said it weeks ago. I said a successful merge was a signal, and a successful ability for people to unlock their funds was going to be huge for confidence, especially amongst institutions. I think the institutions are driving a ton of this because mom and pop retail is just kind of like there's no buyers in the retail market to my knowledge. And telling you what, if we're crabbing around at $1,800 some odd dollars, this 1,700 to 2,000 range, and all this supply is getting locked up. Exchanges are at a 5-year low on supply. I mean, it'll be fun to watch one way or the other. But you got to build the shit, right? You still got to put the quality tools and the quality products out there for people to want to buy and enjoy it. So we got a road to go. He's right.
I think the next leg of that is going to come from restaking, right?
Here
So
comes Logri the Bard.
once we're able to amplify the yield that people get, then a lot of the chain adjacent services are what I call it, but you can actually apply this to other L1s, right? You can look at things like Filecoin and then say like, well, what percentage of the cost that you're paying in your inflation is actually because you're trying to use your own base security, right? It's like 95% of your costs. So then you get, well, someone's going to go and launch a fork you, launch your exact service just using Ethereum as the base asset, right? And get 95% more capital efficiency, and then vampire attack you. And once one person does something like that for one company, doesn't matter which protocol it is, there will be a flood of people, grifters, that'll come after and try to do the same thing, right? But the net result is going to be a bunch of extra utility and value and demand for Ethereum, the asset, because it's going to be it's the positive sum security mechanism for an entire ecosystem soon, right? Traditionally, like if we have fragmented security, every time we peel off capital to secure something else, then that capital is divided, and so it's not securing the original thing. So you have a zero-sum game on security. With restaking, you have a positive sum game on security, that we can secure more things with the same capital, get higher yield for it, and the first thing is not less secure, pending some things that Vitalik was discussing in his blog, right? So that's probably coming Q3, Q4 this year. It's not that far from now.
That's Logri the Bard from tokenomicsexplained.com. Thank you for chiming in. All right. I guess we'll move on down the list. Buster Rules experiences the Bitcoin BRC20 and Ordinals user experience. Anybody got some popcorn for this one? I took a deep breath and dipped my toes into Ordinals and BRC20 yesterday. The UX is terrible. It took 12 hours to process my bridging transaction from BTC mainnet to Stacks, and depositing into my trading wallet took about 10 minutes. It's a very, very long time when you're used to Ethereum. Xverse wallet is even worse than MetaMask in terms of showing human readable information, and all swaps are done either via order books or P2P bulk sales. The experience is not welcoming for a newcomer. I've been doing DeFi daily for the last 2 years, and I had to look around for hours before I was comfortable enough to do a transaction. However, I think BRC20s and Ordinals have a decent chance of becoming more popular in the next few months. I'm not tech savvy enough to understand the hurdles facing a better UX. Until yesterday, I thought an ETH NFT collection could be bridged back and forth to BTC, but I could definitely see how people could pile on Bitcoin DeFi projects. Ethereum isn't threatened by this, in my opinion. It's so far ahead in terms of development. Bitcoin looks like a 28K modem, while Ethereum, that's awfully generous, while Ethereum is still 5G. Still, I decided to allocate a small portion of my trading wallet to it. I feel kind of dirty using a proof of work chain, but hey, ride the wave, don't fight it, as they say. So thank you, Buster Rules, for your insights on the ordinals. Anybody else have any comments on this topic?
I think bottom line, ride the wave, don't fight it is probably a good way to look at this.
Yeah.
The BRCs are fun. I think OKX recently proposed like an update to BRCs to make them a little more usable. But at the end of the day, I think I agree with where this post lies.
Yep, tired of technology. Genie's out of the bottle. You can't stuff it back in. Might as well go with it.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. We'll move on down the list. Bram ETH is thinking about taking on the next part of their Web3 journey. Hey, it seems like I'm going to be let go at work soonish, which is a good thing. My job got less and less technical over the years, and I miss that part a lot. I'm a cryptographer with quite good skills in programming in a range of languages. So I was considering having a bit of fun for a couple years working in the ecosystem. What I'm looking for is a technical challenge. What are my options? My thoughts so far: client teams, or CL. What does CL mean? CL client teams.
Consensus layer.
Say it again.
Consensus layer.
Consensus layer client teams. Thank you. Very new code base, which is nice. Mainly about implementing EIP specs. Seems to be that the challenge here is low, as the heavy lifting is done at the research level. So EL is that execution layer client teams.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, I get a gold star for the day. Older code base, mainly about improvements of various existing parts, a bit more challenge because there's design engineering tasks to improve stability and speed, latency, footprint of the clients. Research teams, way more focused on design. And then layer twos, I would probably prefer a ZK rollup or ZKR since it's more fun to work on, but I kind of think that OR are so ahead in terms of that market share that it's an uphill battle to win as a ZK rollup. Some protocol, probably some game theory involved, but I don't think I like the risk of being. This is a big brain here. Is anybody going to take his information down? So this is Bram E. He's looking for work. I think he can find work. He's got a very good grasp of what's going on. Work.
Yeah, he shouldn't have an issue. It's more so what interests him, I think. But I'm actually gonna reach out to him because the Ethereum Protocol Fellowship cohort applications just started and run until June 16th. So if he is interested in doing anything on the consensus or execution layer clients or research teams, that'd probably be a good place to start.
His last bullet says flavor of the month, work for a hardware wallet manufacturer with good open source values. Look at me, sir. Grid Plus is going open source Q3. I don't work for them, but I think you should reach out and apply it. At the very least, I can get you intro to Justin, the CEO, and see if we can get you a landing there, because it sounds like you got some things that they're looking for. Good luck to you. Keep us updated on your Web3 journey. This is exciting. The world needs you. All right. I think we'll move on because I got to go. I don't know if you guys were here earlier. I don't think I said this publicly, but I was up at 2 a.m. starting the smoker because I got 5 pork butts on. I got to go home and check them. But they're not going to be done till 6 o'clock. Okay, here we go. Moving down the list. Nightfall at SH4. Nightfall SH4 reminds us of another cool use for your hardware wallets. Interesting. Just a reminder to everyone, if you don't know already, both Ledger and Trezor device support FIDO UTF, which means you can use your Ledger or Trezor as a security key to log in to your online accounts. Of course, if you're not comfortable taking your hardware wallet with you everywhere, maybe consider using it for online accounts you only log in from your home or in a safe place. But according to your specific threat model, you can use hardware wallets as a 2FA security partially or fully in your online activities. You can use them to secure your centralized exchange accounts, email, password manager, etc. And if you lose or break your device, you can always restore it with the seed phrase in another device, and all your two-factor security keys will be recovered as well. Using a security key as 2FA for your online accounts greatly increases your general security online and almost impossible to hack into your accounts remotely. Before you implement that, be sure to go through the Ledger and Trezor articles about using their respective universal two-factor features. Trezor also supports FIDO2 standards for passwordless login, but it's not as widely adopted yet like universal two-factor. And he's got the links to those sites to learn more. So thank you for that security reminder. And also remember, you can have the best security on the planet, but if you're socially engineered, nothing can stop them. And SIM swappers that work inside the telecommunication companies can suck it. All right. Anybody else on that?
For those that don't know, JT has some history where he was exploited.
Yep. They didn't even use any jelly. All right. Hani
I
Abu. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I like this one because I know someone who was using a YubiKey recently, um, and they needed to get the credential off of it to replicate it, and YubiKey was not set up to do that. And they said, well, if this thing breaks or I lose it, then I guess I just can't deploy my service anymore. So I like the like seed phrase backup option. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's a very
I thought
interesting.
you were about to say that they could get the key off of it, which had me concerned.
No, no, they couldn't. But they stupidly trusted that as like their only key, or maybe not stupidly, but like they didn't think about it.
Yeah, and I think when you set those, like, for instance, centralized exchanges, you could like I think Kraken, you can add more than one hardware key, or something like that, or you can add multiple hardware keys, to help spread out that risk of losing it, because as anyone knows, going through that KYC process after you lose that exchange credential, oh my God, that is like, yeah, bad. All right, Hani Habu is building awesome tools yet again. Ooh, I'm going to go to your Twitter, Hani. He's got a tweet out there, validatorq.com. Oh, shoot, there we go. You built that too. Yeah, Hani's our resident. Hani does dailydoots.com. He had the before mentioned validatorq.com. I wasn't happy with existing solutions to monitor validator entry and exit queues, so I built validatorq.com. Man, you're a freaking angel. This dashboard shows the entry and exit queues, wait times, total active validators, and historical values. Thank you, Beacon Chain, for the information. Let me go to Validator Q. I'm streaming this on YouTube here. It's a very clean, very simple website, validatorq.com, and it shows exactly what's going on. The wait to get in currently 43 days, 19 hours, and the exit. There's only 74 validators wanting to exit, but there's 88,669 that want to get in on that. Oh man, good for you. Thanks for building that. That's clean and easy to read, and yeah, excellent.
Currently working on an update. Should probably be out this weekend, maybe even today. But I'll be adding additional charts for the active validators, the amount of ETH staked, and the percent of ETH staked, and the staking APR.
Fantastic. that's really neat, man. Good job.
Yeah, I just hated how there's no like clean, simple place to look at this stuff. Whenever I go on like Beacon Chain, it's always difficult to find where the information is. It's usually like buried somewhere, and it's not convenient to find. I think a lot of people had that issue.
And now, the more you know. I see the rainbow just flying over everybody's heads. You did a good job, man. You get a gold sticker today.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move down the list. I see Bob Rossi's in the chat. Hello, Bob Rossi. Bob Rossi discusses the addition of RETH to HOP protocol. Not sure if posted yesterday, but even if it was, it's worth repeating. The HOP bridge now supports RETH with joint liquidity incentivization by HOP and Rocket Pool DAOs. I think we had HOP on our live streams once upon a time, didn't we? This is the first liquid staking token bridge of any protocol, and I'm hopeful HOP can add more. Anyone who is in a LST community that has shown interest in getting a bridge set up, let me or HOP know. When this was being voted on, it seemed there was interest in adding more. And then I'll go to the tweet by HOP Protocol, and I will gladly like and retweet while we're on the live stream. So there we go. Our ETH bridging now supported on Ethereum, Optimism, and Arbitrum. This is the first cross-chain bridge supported for any liquid staking token. Nice. Anybody have anything they want to say that on that one?
No, just that it's very important, especially as we're dealing with Lado's concerning market share, and this kind of leads into the next Doot as well. But not only having a decentralized option available, but also not having Lido available, I think is great, because it kind of forces people's hands if they are reliant on Hop, and hopefully they don't add it, and I hope to see more of that where protocols stop integrating and supporting Lido until the situation improves.
Which leads into our last Doots by Ethical Trade, discusses the dire Lido situation. Here's the Lido situation. A total of 19 million ETH is staked on Ethereum. A total of 6 million ETH is staked on Lido. More than 36% of all staked ETH is staked with Lido. More than 32% of all validators are using Lido. Lido is the number one protocol on Ethereum with a total value locked of more than $13 billion. That's more than twice the TVL of the second largest project, Maker. That's close to 6% of all Ether in existence. The activation of withdrawals by Lido 2 weeks ago had almost no effect on their TVL. Over the past month, Lido's TVL still grew by 10%. There isn't any reason to expect their share to drop significantly in the future. When Prism contributed to centralization by having too high of a share in the consensus client market, the community launched an initiative aiming at reducing that. This worked fantastically, and Prism went from more than 66% to now being second behind Lighthouse. No real initiative has been launched in the case of Lido yet. There is no real equivalent to clientdiversity.org today with explanations, educational material, and guides to switch to less centralized options. There is no real pressure by the community. Are we really passively waiting for the 33% validator share limit to be crossed in order to start doing anything? Will one more percent really make a difference? As a reminder, and there's a link here, Vitalik suggested that no entity should control more than 15% of all validators. Lido already controls twice the stake Vitalik considers to be too much. On May 22nd, 2022, Superfizz wrote that community action should start at a 22% share. With its 32%, Lido now has 50% more than that, and yet no action has been seen. To our Ethfinance friend, Haniabu, who created clientdiversity.org, my God, he's everywhere. Big thanks for that. Is there a similar website plan for staking providers? Rated.network just doesn't do the education job. Please let me and us know if there's anything we can do to help. Feel free to share any idea about what we can do. The problem won't just solve itself. There needs to be community initiative. Bravo on that post. That is a banger. I'm so glad that that got included in the weekly Doots. That is absolutely a banger. Who stakes with Lido? Are they serving institutions? I mean, that's the only thing I mean, is it just that easy for people just to send ETH to them? What is the appeal? Is it because they were early? Like, I have so many questions.
I think there's like a big UX difference, right? Like you can go and buy some Lido staked ETH just on the market right now, and then you're accruing the rewards, or you can wait 2 months to get your 32 ETH into a validator. Which one's easier, right?
Not just that, but so from like an organization point of view, who's going to run the validators? It's tough because someone's going to have the keys to that, or at least be responsible for running it. Even if they have a multi-sig. So there's a lot of responsibility on the parties for that. So they typically opt for the LSTs just because it's simply easier. But even within the LST market, when you're looking at the decentralized protocols, they have huge bandwidth issues. So if you are a DAO and want to deposit, 20,000 ETH into an LST, you can't use Rocket Pool because once those funds are deposited, you have to make sure that there are node operators that can pair with you. So it's not necessarily an instant seamless process like it is with Lido, because their node operators have no collateral, they have no stake in the operation. You're just giving them their ETH and they're launching validators with your ETH. or at least put into a pool until they can get into get through the queue.
Is this
But
is this seriously like a tragedy of the commons scenario that could unfold with this amount? You know what I mean? Like it's like everybody's
well,
overfishing, but it's really one company owns most of the boats. I don't know.
so
That's
yeah,
probably not a
so
great metaphor, but
things will improve, I think. It's just a matter of how bad will things get before that point, and fingers crossed, nothing happens in the meantime, in that period. But things like Rocket Pool, they're lowering their collateral requirements, so every node operator can take on a lot more ETH. And there's things like Stakewise, where the node operator won't be required to have any collateral. So it's kind of like Lido, but it makes the validators. It's kind of like taking Lido and making it into like a framework. So every node operator is their own Lido in a sense. So you can go to Stakewise platform and choose which node operator you want to stake with. So it's not like a pool where your ETH gets shared among different validators and it decentralizes the set like that. But it at least makes the barrier to entry much lower and easier. So anybody that wants to join the game can participate. And considering that the node operators don't need collateral, it's pretty much a marketing game. So I expect to see large entities joining in using that and just marketing the shit out of it, trying to get as much ETH from people as possible. So that should definitely help things, I think. And then there's other protocols like Swell. What are the other ones? EtherFi, I think it is. There's a number of ones coming out. So I think things will get better. It's just a matter of how long it'll take, and if anything happens in the meantime.
what does Lido's leadership say about this? It's an
Oh, they are proud of it.
God
They
dang.
they
Man.
they want as much market share as possible. They are complete vultures. They cut a lot of corners to get here, and they've had a lot of dirty practices for getting integrations earlier on, because their validator set runs a lot of other services for projects in the industry. So they're able to strong arm these projects into either integrating Lido or saying, well, then we're not going to provide these other services for you anymore. I can't go into more details, but that's the gist of it.
Thanks for the shining a light on that. Anybody else want to chime in?
Very
on this?
dirty. And then, of course, you play that gimmick where you give LDO tokens to a bunch of influencers on crypto Twitter and stuff like that, and then those people will just shit on you whenever you say anything bad about Lido, and then it just kind of propagates the issue, just spreading misinformation wherever possible and downplaying issues and concerns, just so they can keep the gravy train going as long as possible.
I mean, how much gravy do you need? It's just like,
Greed knows no bounds.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, there, for every good intention and good actor in crypto or any really new industry throughout time, there's going to be 5 bad actors exploiting, grifting, whatever. But this is just like one disaster away from just like crippling everything. It's just like, when does the shoe drop? Have we not learned our lesson on these? I don't know. I like companies making money, but man, like when you're jeopardizing the potential of the entire network that you're making your money from, you're cutting down and eating all of the seed corn for next year's crop, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you what's going to happen is once they start getting more competition, that's when they're finally going to be like, okay, we have diminishing returns. Let's actually attempt to, quote unquote, decentralize, because they have plans to make it better, but still not really
Is
centralized.
it lip service?
Yeah, so then they could start claiming, oh, but there's no reason to leave us now. We're decentralized. And then
Mm.
they try to fight back that way. It's a classic tactic, and it's super frustrating because a lot of people aren't aware of like how these things go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, JT, for some context, back when they voted to cap themselves a year plus ago, or whatever that was, the vibe I was getting is that they don't view themselves as owning 30 whatever percent of the network. They view themselves as like a union of 30 people owning 1% of the network. So they it's going to be a really rough one because I've seen the comparisons with the client diversity, but the problem is that was sort of a win-win for everyone. Whereas now you're actually fighting Lido's profits and people investing in it with profits because you're basically telling them to take less money. So it's not going to be easy, and I'm probably not as optimistic as Hanny, but yeah,
Well,
that's sort of where they come from because
the
they don't
problem
really
is
view as
multifaceted.
doing anything wrong.
Thank
It's
you.
a bit of a layered issue because even let's say they there's other players coming into the space, like let's say Swell, which is pretty much like Lido under a different name. There's another issue where the validators for Lido are also validators for other hosted staking projects. So it's like there's like hidden threats. It's hard to tell, how many validators each of these entities are operating because they're hidden behind another entity, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
controlled groups basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough because yeah, and I don't even know what the greatest solution is because a lot of people say to slash them, but the next highest people in line are, I think, Coinbase and Binance, and you can only slash so much until you're having the same conversation, but it's Coinbase instead of Lido, or it's Binance instead of Lido. So
I find it ironic because one of the great value adds of Ethereum is being able to prove what software is executing. Right. So if I give a binary and I put it on some machine somewhere, by the time it's in RAM and executing, I don't really know what's there. Right. If I want to do voting machines, it's really hard to audit a voting machine because, well, what happened to the software between the GitLab repo and it being in RAM and executing is like a long chain of things that can go wrong, right? Whereas with Ethereum, the smart contracts, like you can know exactly what code is executing. We have the bytecode, right? And you can know that that is the code that is executing, and it can't be anything else. And so when we talk about these clients, what we care about is that they could run a custom client and do bad things on the network, and that's why we care, right? It's because we can't actually audit the software that they are running, that the Lido node operators are running, and know that they don't have some malicious thing that they're just waiting to get 66% control of the network in order to execute, right? So it's ironic to see that one of the major value adds that Ethereum was created to solve is itself not solved at the execution and consensus layer by the Ethereum protocol.
And it could not even be nefarious either. If you don't want to wear the tinfoil hat, they could just be running a custom client for, other purposes, either for their specific infrastructure, to integrate their other services, or
just private mempools, relatively
yeah.
harmless things, yeah.
MEV, block builders, whatever they have included in this, and if there's like some bug in there, and there's multiple parties that are associated with each other running this, then yeah, you're kind of screwed. It's the same issue as client diversity. There's a client diversity bug.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we'll put a pin in it, but you don't have to go anywhere. Just want to give another round of applause, a virtual applause to our special guests today, Brendan and Joe. from Auditware. Thank you so much for your time today. If there's any parting words you'd like to give us on Ethfinance and the EVMavericks DAO, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Really honored to be here with your community today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Feel free to stop by anytime during the day. We got the daily going on 24/7, and drop by and say hi. Even if it's not related to Auditware, we sure welcome you into this community, and we'll hopefully just see you in the audience hanging out, or special guests again on our live stream. So with that, we will wrap it up with our final thoughts. Stick around after the live stream because we continue the party in the hotel lobby on Discord for a bonus hour of popcorn. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching on YouTube. Hi, Mom. On behalf of the Ethfinance and EVMavericks DAO, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.